it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. I'm so glad you dropped by today. I'll be making a cute Halloween card that looks like this, and it's got a fun little features to it. This is the pop-up mechanism as a surprise on the inside, so let me show you how I did this. I started with Echo Park Bewitched paper pack, some gold glitter cardstock, some iridescent paper, and a couple of dies. Now you could use your fancy scissors for this if you don't have dies. I think you could figure out how to get this done and still move on with this cute card. So you can see these are double-sided papers. There's even printed sentiments on the back side of the cover of the paper pack, which is fabulous. And so many things to choose from. But this is the one that I chose to start with, and it says sometimes you just need to put on the party hat and remind them who they are dealing with. It's just so cute. So my card base is 5 by 6.5. Again, I am going to be using the dots on the front and the inside, as well as this sentiment on the outside, but it's a little plain, and I want to take it from just fun to something fabulous. So to do that, I will be bringing over these scallop dies, some glitter cardstock. I get those run through my Big Shot die cutting machine, and adds just a little more detail and dimension to my card just by running those through the dies. You can see how this is coming together, getting a little more interesting here. Okay, here are the dots that I cut out for the front of my card, and I decided to line that with just a black mat, and that will bring over the black out of the witch's dress as well as that sentiment. And I think that just sets that off nicely. Now to put it over the top, here is my little magic piece of paper from the Paper Studio. It is actually a holographic glitter iridescent self-adhesive paper. And you can see I used the same die that I used to cut out that orange sentiment piece. It's the exact same size. And I cut out this holographic paper. And when I peel the backing off, it is actually clear. So I get that put down over my sentiment piece, lining up those scallops, and I'm just going to carefully press that down. This is a very sticky self-adhesive paper, and look how cute that is. Depending on how you catch the light, I mean, you've got the holographics going, but you can still read the sentiment beneath that, just depending on how you hold it up to the light. So I'll bring over my brayer and just really reinforce the adhesion here. That's probably not a necessary step, but I wanted to get that done. So here is the Stampendist Pop Accessories that I will be using on the inside for my pop-up mechanism. Now I'm doing a portrait style card, so I'm going to lay this down the crease of my card using that coordinating paper that I used on the front. This is a heavy cardstock, and it's perfect for the pop-up because you need something a little sturdy to support that mechanism. So I'm simply going to score this horizontally and vertically down the center, and this just gives me some little lines, guidelines to go by for my pop accessory pop-up card die. This allows me to align this in the center vertically and horizontally. I'll get that taped down and run through my Big Shot, and you can see it leaves two little slits here and a couple of little score lines at the top. So I'm simply taking my bone folder and reinforcing those two score lines at the top, and then I'm going to take my fingers and just get this started. Now I don't want to introduce additional lines on that longer rectangular cutout piece because I need that to be sturdy and function properly as the pop-up mechanism. So just take your time here, use your bone folder, and reinforce all the score lines. Now you can see I've got a little tab sticking out there at the top, which doesn't bother me because I will be bringing over my glitter cardstock and adhering two little strips along each of the long ends of my inside panel. This is where those will go. All right, so I'll take a generous amount of glue, being careful not to get over onto that pop-up mechanism. And I like to use my grid mat for this because then I can line up my little border papers proportionately on each end of my insert. It only takes a second to get these little strips adhered on here. And then I'll be ready to adhere this to the center of the inside of my card. Okay, it's looking good. I'm bring over my brayer and make sure that glue is squished all around underneath those little strips. And you can see that's taking care of that tab that used to stick out. All right, now I'm applying the glue to the pop-up piece of my card. And you can see I'm very careful not to get any glue there in that rectangular cutout section, because that is your pop-up and you don't want to glue your mechanism to the inside of your card, so you've got to leave that free and clear of your adhesive. Right now, all I simply do is line up the fold from the pop-up piece into the center of my card, get that glue moving around underneath using my brayer to make sure that there's good adhesion, and we're ready to move on for the inside sentiment. You can see what this looks like from a different angle. That pop-up, when your recipient opens the card, your pop-up's going to be moving. So I started to use that hat, except if I cut it out, the brim was a little too long. So to help this coordinate with the outside, I used that same scallop die in just a little smaller size so that my card has some continuing elements from the outside to the inside. In other words, they all coordinate with that same little scalloped edge. So I'm going to adhere the Welcome My Pretties. Gently fold that over, make sure that glue is moving around behind my sentiment, and then I'll be ready to move on to the front of my card. I like that, but I liked it a little better when I gave it just a bit of a tilt. So I think I'm going to go with the tilt, and I'll lightly apply some liquid adhesive around the frame here and get that put on the front of my card. Just again using that slight tilt, I think it adds just a bit more of interest. Trying to take this card from ho-hum to holy-moly with just a few little additional details like this. Then off camera, I have applied foam tape to the back of my sentiment panel, and I'll remove that release paper and get that put down right inside the edges of my frame. Okay. So look at the sparkle and shine and the detail on the front of that simple card, and then the pop-up element on the inside. I think this simple card came out really cute, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how this was made, how you can take something from just fun to fabulous. I've got my lined envelope, and I have several YouTube videos out there for you on easy peasy lined envelopes using no special measurements or dies, so I hope you'll take a look at that. And I would love to have you comment, subscribe to either my blog or my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you back next week. I'll be having weekly card sessions here. Again, all the supplies and dimensions for this card can be found on my card blog. Happy crafting, everyone!